In today's video, I'm going to show you why the American dream of homeownership has been crushed for millions of people. Check this out.
You need to make $165,000 a year to rent the average apartment in New York, which is triple what the average pay is. Okay, that's broken. Because the economy is broken. And if you're in the half that can afford Taylor Swift tickets or private firefighters or anything at Whole Foods, it's still broken because it's not sustainable as long as the other half has no prayer of owning a home.
Now, despite how broken the economy is, coming up, I'm going to show you specific information as to whether or not you should or shouldn't buy a home, especially any of the nearly 6,000 Las Vegas homes for sale. Stay tuned. What's going on, my YouTube friends? This is Jerry Abbott, your #1 real estate resource here in beautiful Las Vegas. Hey guys, a couple of real quick things before we dive into the video. If this is your first time to the channel and you want to learn the cold hard facts about the U.S. economy, the U.S. real estate market, and specifically the Las Vegas real estate market, then make sure to subscribe to the channel down below. Number 2, if you happen to like the content in today's video, make sure to press that thumbs up like button, guys. That would really help the channel out. And number 3, if you are thinking about relocating to beautiful Las Vegas, whether it's next month or next year, I've got your back. I'm a local real estate agent here. I've lived here for 20 years. I know every inch of this city. When that time is right for you, definitely reach out to me. Just call, text, or email me anytime, and I'll help you find that perfect dream home. Let's dive into the video. So a lot of people have been waiting a long time for a real estate market crash or a correction, but I just don't see that happening for several reasons. But I want to show you in this upcoming chart the most important reason, in my opinion. All right, so let's take a look at this US map graphic. Now take a look at the very top where it says active housing inventory for sale compared to pre-pandemic levels. Shift between January 2019 and January 2025. So this is going back a little over 5 years ago, before the pandemic, to the current time period in terms of overall housing inventory throughout the United States. Now take a look in the upper left at this color gradient bar. Right there on the left side, you can see minus 50% under the brown. Then you've got the 0% in the middle, and then 50% on the right. When you look at the US map graphic right here on the main part of the page, most of the country is still either brown or dark brown, which means housing inventory over the last 5 years or so, from before the pandemic till now, is still very low. Now let's take a look here in the top right corner, because the Northeast has the lowest housing inventory out of any part of the country. All right, so let's look at a few states here. In the Northeast, right at the very top here, in Maine, it says minus 60%. That means Maine's inventory is still 60% below where it was before the pandemic. Just underneath that in New Hampshire, 62% below. Massachusetts, 55%. New Jersey, 67%. Now let's go down to the Southeast in Florida. You can see right down there, it says 5%. That's one of the few states in the entire country that has seen housing inventory go up above pre-pandemic levels from 2019. Another state right there, Texas, 13% above. If we go over to Colorado right here, you're looking at about a 2% pop. But if you go over to California right here, minus 31%. And in my state of Nevada right here, minus 17%. A lot of these states are between 10 and 60% below inventory levels from before the pandemic, which means even though inventory has gone up substantially, just in the last few months, the levels are still very low compared to demand, and it's obviously going to take more time for housing supply to catch up to that demand. Now, even though housing inventory has gone up quite a bit in the last several months, we can clearly see in that chart that we still have a ways to go for supply to catch up to demand, which is one of the biggest reasons, if not the biggest reason, as to why we've not seen that kind of real estate market correction or crash that so many people are hoping for. Now, here in Las Vegas, where I happen to be located, housing demand continues to be strong, and a big reason for that is because of so many Californians moving to Las Vegas. Take a look at this graphic right next to me. Since 2020, 158,000 people from California have moved to Nevada, and that's primarily here in Las Vegas. That's 43% of all new residents are from California now here in Las Vegas. And guess what? They're coming with a lot of money, and they're easily able to outbid local Las Vegans for homes here. Take a look at this.
Findings from researchers at UNLV show a major housing issue for Nevadans. According to the Lead Center for Real Estate, 40% of all newcomers to Las Vegas are moving here from California. They analyzed income data from the IRS and discovered those Californians are coming here with, surprise, surprise, a lot more cash in their pockets to buy a home than an average Nevadan. That has a lot of people here concerned because locals have an uphill climb in a bidding war with a California buyer who has more cash.
I mean, folks coming from, from Orange County are making $170,000 170% more than your typical Las Vegas resident. That's how do you compete with that?
This also means there's less incentive for sellers to lower their price, and just another reason that we're less likely to see local home prices come down anytime soon.
Now, in these upcoming clips, I want to show you a few specific examples of Las Vegas homes for sale that I think you're going to find very interesting, just to show you where the market was a few years ago compared to right now, and why affordability has become such a challenge in this current housing market for the average person. All right, so now I'm on the popular real estate platform Zillow that most of you are familiar with, and I wanted to show you just two examples of Las Vegas homes for sale here, starting with this one that you can see right here on screen, because I want to show you this specific example to show you where the real estate market is currently compared to where it was just a few years ago, and how much profit the sellers are still likely going to make on these homes, even with price reductions. So let's take a look at this first home here. You can see on the left side of the screen, this home is currently listed for sale at $855,000, but just above that in that small red text, it says price cut $25,000. That happened just a couple of weeks ago. This is a 4-bedroom, 4-bath, almost 2,700 square foot home. But more importantly, I want to show you in the price history down below the little bit of a roller coaster ride that this home has been on, and the kind of profitability that the seller is likely going to make when they ultimately sell this home. All right, so take a look at the bottom of the screen. Down in this blue highlight here in the bottom left, the date says 10/25/2021. So that's just a little over 3 years ago. This home was sold for just $568,000. Now, if we take a look just above it, the date right there, you can see in the yellow highlight says 10/18/2024. So that's almost 3 years later exactly. They listed this home for sale for a whopping $965,000. That's a 70% price increase in 3 years, which makes no sense because no real estate market ever appreciates in true value that much. So take a look just above it there. They started reducing the price because they couldn't find a buyer. $935, $904, $904. They removed the listing. They dropped it to $880. And then right there in the other yellow highlight, the current list price, $855,000. So there's a very important reason as to why I'm showing you this kind of example, because there's a lot of examples like this here in the Las Vegas real estate market. At the bottom, again, you can see in that blue highlight, the original selling price was $568,000. The sellers then tried to get $965,000, and they couldn't find a buyer because they overlisted in terms of price. And now they have it down, you can see again right at the top in that yellow highlight, $855,000. So they have taken about $110,000 price reduction on this home. They still can't find a buyer. But the reason why I wanted to show it to you is because even if they sell this home for $850,000 or even $800,000, they are still going to make hundreds of thousands of dollars in profit, because that is the way the real estate market has now adjusted. We have a much higher floor in terms of prices. And again, even though they're not likely going to get their maximum number that they wanted, they're still going to profit handsomely, because if you bought a home 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago, you made a very nice profit. The problem is buyers today, unfortunately, are getting the short end of the stick, because even though they're still paying a little bit lower of a price point from what the original seller wanted, they're still end up paying a much higher price compared to where homes were just a few years ago. All right, so now let's take a look at this second example of another Las Vegas home for sale. Now we're definitely coming down closer to the median price point, which here in Las Vegas right now is about $475,000. You can see on the left side of the screen, this home is currently listed for $500,000, but just above that in that small red text, it says price cut of $50,000. That happened just a couple of weeks ago. This is a 2-bedroom, 3-bath, nearly 1,900 square foot home. There's a $90 a month HOA, but again, more importantly, I want to show you down below in the price history where the sellers originally bought it for and what they're obviously trying to sell it for now, which is $500,000, and the kind of profit that they're likely going to make when they ultimately sell the home. All right, so once again, take a look at the bottom of the screen. Down in the bottom left there, the date says 7/18/2018. So now we're going back nearly 7 years ago, well before the pandemic. This home was sold, you can see on the right side of the blue highlight, for $293,000. Now, if we take a look just above it, you can see the date there on the top left in that yellow highlight, 8/20/2024. So then we're going to fast forward about 6 years later, this past summer when the home was originally listed for sale. They listed it for sale, you can see on the yellow highlight here on the right side, for $560,000. So they couldn't find a buyer at $560,000, so they reduced the price $10,000 to $550,000. They had a pending sale, but obviously that fell apart, and then they did a very big price reduction. You can see in the yellow highlight right at the top that the current price now is at $500,000. So again, the big reason as to why I'm showing you guys this kind of a home listing here in Las Vegas, and this is just one of many examples that I find all the time here in the Las Vegas real estate market, Homeowners that bought their homes 5, 6, 7 years ago have now made a very substantial profit on their homes if they're looking to sell now, because they did this well before the pandemic and all of the inflation came into the economy. And the bottom line, the thing to take away from this is the people, instead of trying to time the market, which a lot of people are waiting for a crash, they're trying to time the market. The more important thing is time in the market. The longer you're in the market, whether it's the stock market or the housing market, and you just hold on to something, you're likely going to do much better than trying to time the market. So you can see now that the bar is set higher, and it's not just for home prices, it's for everything. There is nothing cheaper in this current economy than even from just a few years ago, and certainly not from a couple of decades ago. And with inflation still being high, the potential for tariffs to come into play now, and also the potential for lower interest rates at some point later this year, I just don't see anything down the line getting cheaper, which means wealthier people are the ones that are likely going to control most of the market, while average income earning people are likely to continue to struggle. Now, if you are wealthy or you own a current home with equity in it, or you earn a higher income, it's fairly easy for you to buy a home here in the Las Vegas real estate market. So there's a lot of options on the table for people like yourself. But if you're not in that group and you earn an average income, you really need to run your personal financial numbers and see whether or not you can comfortably afford a home. Obviously, some of you will not be able to qualify because, again, you need a certain kind of income and certain amount of savings in order to buy a home. But again, run your personal financial numbers and don't get in over your head. Now, before we end today's video, I just want to give a shout out to my favorite comment from last week's video, and that goes to Tobin. Now, I'm going to put Tobin's comments up here in full screen and read it to you, and then come back on the other side and comment on it. So Tobin wrote, "I just bought a new home in Henderson 6 months ago for a little less than $600,000. In the same development, all the homes have sold and the price for the same model home has gone up $100,000. Almost all of the license plates of the people moving in are from California. So I would buy and lock in a new house if you can afford it." So Henderson is the adjacent city to Las Vegas. It's just a couple of minutes away. It's a very sought after area. It's actually been named for many years as one of the safest cities in the entire country. And again, it goes back to what I was saying earlier in the video and in recent previous videos. A tremendous amount of Californians are migrating over to Las Vegas and Henderson because it's a prime target for being able to buy affordable real estate. There's no state income tax here. So that is what's driving a lot of the market here, because so many Californians continue to move here. So I want to hear from you guys. I want you to drop me a comment down below. I read and respond to all of my comments. I want you to give me your take on the overall economy and the housing market in particular, and tell me whether or not you think, because of the new administration in place, what do you think is going to happen with the economy? What do you think is going to happen with home prices? And my favorite comment from this week's video, I'm going to give a direct on-screen shout out to in next week's video. So just to close out the video, the real estate market is really split into two parts. You've got the haves versus the have-nots. The haves are the people that are already wealthy, earn a high income, and likely own a home with equity in it. Those people can easily buy real estate, especially in places like Las Vegas, and they've been doing so. That's what's been the biggest driver as to why prices are so high here now in Las Vegas. The have-nots are the people, especially locally, that don't earn enough income. My advice to you guys is try to find a side hustle to make more money, because again, I don't think any sector of the economy is going down in price, especially home prices. Now, I know everybody's circumstances are different. Some people are looking at buying a home now. Some people might be waiting later this year. If you are thinking about buying a home, especially here in the Las Vegas real estate market, when that time is right for you, definitely reach out to me. I'm a local real estate agent here. I've lived here for 20 years. I definitely have your back. Just call, text, or email me anytime, and I'll help you find that perfect dream home. I'll see you in the next video.